Hey, fourth grade friends. For math today, we're going to write down notes. You'll need your math notebook, items to take notes with, and then your math book too. We're going to do some practice problems in there today. All right, so go ahead and pause the video while you get these items ready. All right, so for math, today we're going to talk about decomposing fractions. Okay? Now, we actually already know how to decompose numbers. So let's think about if we have the number 10. Can we break it down into other ways using addition? Well, we know we could do 5 plus 5, right? And we can say 10 equals 7 plus 3. There's a lot of ways we can decompose numbers. Today, we're going to do that with fractions. So we're going to break up fractions even more. So let's start with our definition. Decompose means split apart or break down into smaller parts. Remember, you can always pause the video if you need more time. Here's an example. We can have our fraction of 5/6. We can decompose that to say 4/6 plus 1/6. Okay, I split my 5/6 into a group of 4 and a group of 1. Or I could say 5/6 is really 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. I split it into groups of 1 and 6 times. So all we're doing is splitting our fractions into smaller groups. But sometimes we have these numbers called mixed numbers. That's when we have a whole number and a fraction written together, like 3 and 1/3. What this means is I am using thirds to make 3 wholes and 1/3. So I started with a group of thirds, and I knew, I had 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, but they're split into thirds. Then on this last one, I only have 1/3. So then I have 3 and 1/3. Now, to decompose mixed numbers is a little trickier. We need to break our whole number into a fraction that equals 1. Because we're using thirds in our mixed number, we know that our fraction has to be out of thirds. So we would say 1 whole is the same as 3/3. We're using that equivalent fraction practice. We need to make sure it has the same denominator as the fraction, okay? This is that super important part. It's the same denominator. So when we look at this one, it's a little different. Let's say we have our mixed number 2 and 1/4. What we can say is we need to break our whole number into fractions that equal 1. Because I have 2 wholes, that's really like saying 1 plus 1. I'm decomposing that. But I need it as a fraction. So because my denominator is 4, I know I have a 4/4, that's 1, plus a 4/4 is another 1, and that would get 2, plus 1/4. I broke it down even more. Sometimes you might see fractions where it wants you to have a number like this, where it's a mixed number, and I want you to only decompose it into 2 fractions. Now, the important thing to think is I know my denominator has to stay the same. So I'm going to just put in my denominator of 4ths right away so I don't mix that up. But now I got to think. 2 out of 4ths. Well, I know 4/4 is 1. So if I had 8/4, right? Because I'd have 4 plus 4. 4/4 plus 4/4 like we did there. Oh yeah, that gets me 8. 8/4. And then I could have my 1/4 left over still. Sometimes We need those improper fractions to help us. Let's take a look at another example. Like if we have 1 3/5, we know that that could be equal to 5/5 because my denominator has to be 5, and I'm making my whole 5/5 plus 3/5. So I know that 1 3/5, I can decompose this even more if I wanted it with 3 spots. I can keep my whole 5/5, and I can say 2/5 plus 1/5. Because over here, looking at my denominators, I know that this would be 7. So if I look over here and think 5 plus 2 plus 1, sorry, my fault, that's 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 5, 6, 7, and one more is 8. All we are doing is making sure our decomposed part has that same value. So now you're going to do some practice in your math book. You're going to find page 473, and you're going to do problems 3 through 10. Then on the back side, number 13, 14, and 16. So pause the video while you work on those problems as practice, and then unpause when you're ready, and we'll look over those answers. All right, so let's take a peek. Number 3. You should have decomposed 3/5 into 2/5 and 1/5. You might have switched them around, and that's okay too. Just make sure, because this one equals 3, right? That same numerator. Over here, 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. I would have 1, 2, 3. Yep, it makes 3. This was one of those tricky ones like we talked about with making an improper fraction. So you might have found 4/4 plus 3/4. And then you needed probably an improper fraction of 5/4 and 2/4. Down below, number 5, you might have said 1/6 plus 3/6, or 2/6 plus 2/6. Okay, or remember you could switch the order up too. Over here, you might have said 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 2/6, or you might have said, I think that was pretty much it. Remember, the order could be changed up too. Or you might have said, that would work. All right. 7/8 could be 5/8 plus 2/8. You might have said 4/8 plus 3/8, so on. Then another way to split them up was 2/8 plus 2/8 plus 3/8. You might have done, 4/8 plus 1/8 to get 5/8, and then 2/8. As long as when we go across the numerators, does it make 7 still? Down here, we actually did this one in our book, 1 3/5, in our notebooks. Now over here, 2.5. So we needed an improper fraction. You might have done 3/2. I probably would have done 4/2 because I know I need 2 wholes plus 1/2. Remember, I can change the order of these anyway. I can have 1/2 plus 4/2. Then over here, 2/2 plus 2/2 plus 1/2. Yep, that was probably it. All right, 9/12. You might have gotten 2/12 plus 7/12. Might have gotten 6/12 plus 3/12. Might have gotten, 4 plus 5, 4/12 plus 5/12. Then 9/12, 6/12 plus 2/12 plus 1/12. Double check your numerators. If you add across your numerators, does it equal 9? Then we have 1 1/3. We should have done 3/3 and then plus 1/3. And decompose it even more for this part. 2/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. Good. Because we know that this side is really equal to 4/3. And we know if we look over here, it should be equal to 4/3 too. Then on the back side, problem number 13. You needed to write 2 equivalent fractions that tell part of the class as boys. So we got 8/12 from 8 of the 12. You might have gotten 4/6. You might have also gotten 4 divided by 2 would be 2 2/3. Okay, could have gotten smaller too. 14. You should have added your boys and girls together, multiplied by 9, and got 1008. And 16, select all the ways the teacher could distribute. The book said these two, and we realized that this one should be also, because 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 would be 3/3, which is 1, and then we'd have 2/3, so that one should work too. And we decided this one could work as a class because it's very similar to this one, even though it technically doesn't decompose it, because it's just separated the whole from the fraction. So if you didn't pick that one, that's okay. If you did, that's okay too. All right. Then for your math homework, you have page 475 and 476, 1 through 5, 10, 14, and 15. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, good luck decomposing.